everybody. Welcome to our Friday night crop-in. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am excited about tonight's crop-in because I'm going to teach you a few little things that I have learned over the way and over my many years of doing this that I think have just added to my layouts and are just a fun little technique that you can add to your layout. So hopefully you guys saw the layout that I made, and what I really wanted to talk to you are a few different things. So the first thing, when I was creating this layout, I really wanted to spotlight this picture right here in the center because this was the Hotel Ziva in Cabo. And when you walk through the entrance of the Hotel Ziva, this is kind of the view of what you see. It is just this massive overlook view of the pool and the sun and the sea. So I really wanted to highlight that, and I wanted it to be really big. But if you just stuck that on a page, it could be kind of boring. So that is how this creation started, was how can I incorporate some more fun little techniques around so I can still spotlight my large landscape photo, but I can add some interest to my page. For me, when I scrapbook, and you guys, if you've been with me at all, you know, my goal is always to make the heroes of my pages. So hopefully when you look at my page, you see my pictures, and then you start to notice everything else around it. I think I did pretty good on here. Sometimes my embellishments might take over a little bit and then I say I failed, but this one, I think your eye really goes to my photo first, and then you start to see the wave and the palm tree and my other pictures. So that being said, you can easily change this. It wouldn't have to necessarily be a big block picture. You could do a block of a lot of pictures, and that's what I'm going to put together today. It's another alternative other than a big photo. But now let's talk through some of these elements that are on here that I want to kind of discuss today. So one of the first things that you'll notice is my border. And again, one of my goals this year was to I had 3 goals: use mat cards, use my punches and my BMCs, and use up my scraps. Those were my 3 goals this year. So everything that you see on the bottom came from scraps. Now, because I was overlaying my borders, I didn't want to use my designer paper because I'm stingy with my designer paper. So how this came about was when I was looking at my cardstock, we all have pieces of cardstock that look like this because we forget to do the magic, whatever that's called, the magic mat cut for 4.5 by 6.5, or we do 4 by 6s and we end up with a little sliver. So all of these elements came from little scraps of paper that looked like this. So that's where this came from. And I really liked the graduated levels of the ocean, which is how I chose the different papers that I chose. So that was the first element that we're going to talk about. The second element that I've really started doing a lot is I've actually started putting my titles or my text directly on my photos. And I just think this is a fun way to do something different with your photos. So in this example, I did a title, but I pulled another example that I have done recently where I actually did my journaling on here. I had my whole pages, they were done, but I just wanted to fill in this space and kind of draw my eye over here into my embellishment. So I just wrote, a quiet morning walk along the shoreline, salt air, soft waves, and peace that fills the soul. Just adds a little bit of interest into that cluster. Still get my pictures, still have the whole view of my pictures, but just a little bit of interest. So I'm going to show you how I do that the quick and easy way using Canva. And then the last thing I added to this page was I added a palm tree. I felt like I needed some weight over here to offset my pictures on this side. So I created a quick and easy dirty palm tree using the custom cutting system. And I know someone was interested in how I created that, so I'm going to show you that as well. So this is kind of what we're going to create. Hopefully that's what you guys are here for and what you're interested in. I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. And I'm actually going to use the secret box today. And I've already kind of started punching. Now I used before the Wild Daisy punch, which I loved, and it's nice and big. And it was perfect for layering, but I was curious if you used an edge style. I think an edge style would work as well. So this is a chain style punch. That means it separates completely from your paper. An edge style punch means that it connects on one side of your paper. And we do have a knockout style punch that stays completely on your paper and just punches out the design. I'm not sure, honestly, how that would work. I'm not going to say it can't work because it probably could, and someone will prove me wrong, but I don't know if you're overlaying it exactly how well that would work. So I am going to try a chain style today, or not a chain style, an edge style today. And I am going to do a girly page. I don't know what pictures I'm going to put on it, but I am going to do a girly page. So I'm going to bring in, I started with a base page. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to build my border. And so you guys, I've already cheated a little bit because this can take a really long time to punch. And so I went ahead and I punched. And what I wanted to show you is that when I'm building anything that requires lots of layers, I do both sides and do all of my punching on all of my papers before I cut them, just because I want to deal with one at a time. So these are the ones I have so far. And I'm going to do the same thing, kind of go lighter. And then I've got one more to do. So I'm going to go ahead and punch that. And I'm doing odd numbers. I like to do things always in odd. So I would either do 1, 3, or 5. It's just a graphic thing that I learned. And I kind of stick to that. And this punch, you guys, this punch, I'm just telling everybody right now, if you have not punched with this punch, you have to be really careful to line these holes up. And there's so many holes that if you don't get them lined perfectly, you'll mess it up, but you will eventually get them lined up perfectly where every single one of the holes is filled in silver. I don't know if you guys can tell, but they're all filled in silver. I kept doing it and I was like, they're not all silver.
Jenny, could you repeat the statement about 1, 3, and 5? Use that for borders?
I use that pretty much for anything at all on my layouts. I always do things in odd numbers. So in this case, where I'm using multiple borders, I'm going to either use one border or I'm going to do 3 or I'm going to do 5.
Okay, thank you.
And that's just something I learned in a design class, and it's always stuck with me. And I'm sure there's a reason. And honestly, I don't remember. I have to look it up again. So I did the one side, and just to save myself time, I'm just going to go ahead and punch the other side. Just because I want to get all my punching done at the same time. I don't want to have to punch, cut, punch, cut. And I'm doing it too because I have 2 pages, right? So one of the pieces will go on the left page and one of the pieces will go on the right page. And this punch, just for those of you who have it, if you haven't used it yet, is a very messy punch. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a million of these little bits. All right, so then the next thing I need to do is I just need to trim up all of these. And I'm going to wait to do the white because it's on the top. So I'll start at the bottom. And I want to get most of my semicircle in here. So it's right at 1 1/4 inch is where I'm cutting this. And I'm going to cut that the same for all of them. I almost did an outdoor layout, and then Heather talked me into using the secret box because I think mountains would be cool and to have a big mountain picture. Whoops.
They kind of remind me of suns as well.
Kind of. All right. I will tell you, ooh, I did that one a little short. Oh well, it don't matter. So then what I do is I'm going to lay this on my sheet. And the reason I'm laying it is I want to see how tall it's going to go so I know what my next block needs to be. And what I think gives this the look that makes it feel like movement, because that's what we're trying to do with this border, right? We're trying to make it feel movement across the page. So when you look at my layout here, it should feel like movement going across the page. So it's drawing your eye across the page, kind of looking at my photos. And what I think helps to make it feel like that is the fact that we're offsetting our borders, right? I'm not lining them up one after the other after the other. You can, but it's going to give it a completely different look. I'll show you. Right? So that's just straight. It's a different look. I'm trying to get movement on my page. So by offsetting, see how it gives it a completely different feel?
Oh, girl, those are mermaid scales.
These ones.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love it. You know, we're always so used to just stacking things. I love how you offset it.
I just think it really helps to draw your eye.
For sure.
Maybe I need to go to Witchy Watchy and see the mermaids. Okay, this is where I need your help. This is why I haven't done this. So I was going to cut it straight across like the other ones. And then I thought, what if I do something a little crazy and I add in one of our border tools? Oh my gosh, you guys, I have the biggest mess here. I threw it away. But I'll show you. I kind of played a little bit. Like, what if I add one of our border tools and make it like this
That's
on the
cute.
top? What do we think? Do we like it with a curve on the top?
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
Yes, it looks like a wave that way.
Yeah, I like
All
it.
right. All right. Let's get out one of these border tools. The one that I used on there is actually called Waves. Whoever said that. Did you guys see my picture after the last crop in of my office? I don't know if you guys saw it, but I posted it because I'm like a messy scrap. Like if you want a nice, neat scrapper, that is not me. I am so messy. And I started tonight with everything looking so nice and it's already a mess. All right. I'm just gonna line this up. I'm gonna start with this side down here on the left. And I am putting okay, so when I look at these border tools, I'm calling this the foot because I don't know what else you call this. And I've only heard anybody refer to it as the foot. So I am putting the edge of the foot one after my design. So it's going to give me a little bit, actually, it's two after my design. My design is lined up at one and I'm putting it at the second one. And if I do it that way, is that going to make it look right? I think so. Let's just give it a whirl. If I mess it up, it's just paper and we can cut it again, right? What do we think? Can you see it? Yes? No?
Love it.
Thoughts? All right. Make sure you shut your blades because I have cut myself and it's not fun. All right, so my mermaid scales over here on the left side. Did we decide we like them? Wait, we like them cockeyed? I like them cockeyed. All right, the reason that I'm doing this ahead is I'm trying to figure out exactly how far up it's going to go, and that will help me determine what the size of my picture block should be. So this is going up about 3.5. So when I did my original layout, here's the deal. You can get your photo and you can take it and you can get it printed in a 12 by 12 size. And if you get it printed in a 12 by 12 size, then you can just adhere it on and you can have your waves going across and you can cut it and you can put your other side on the other side. But I didn't have access to 12 by 12 and it takes a long time to get that. So I wanted to use an 8.5 by 11 so that I could print it on my own printer at home. And so that's what I did here. So I used an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and I just blew it up really big and then did two different, like this was the left side of my photo and then I did the right side on a second sheet and I kind of just positioned them together. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you look down here, my photo doesn't go all the way to the end. It kind of just goes to the edge. And why that's important is I'm going to use this paper today, right? And I don't want to use it all because I'm going to use it on both pages and then I won't have any more of it left. And I think I'm going to want a little bit of it left, maybe for some other pages. So knowing that I'm going to come up to about 3.5 inches, and I know I have to go a 1/2 inch down, I know that I can cut off about 4 inches on here and save myself a 4-inch strip. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. But I do know that I need to cut off a little bit of an edge. So I'm going to start with a 1/4 inch, I think. I'm going to start with a 1/4 inch. I might need to go to a 1/2 inch. Let me just see what I think. I think I just like a really thin border like that. The other one I did a 1/2 inch border. I don't know. What do you think? 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch? Maybe I should do 1/2 inch, huh? All
Can
right,
always
so I'm
cut
gonna
more
do
of it out of the back.
I'm gonna do 1/2 inch on that side, and then I'm gonna cut off about, I'm gonna do 3 3/4 from the bottom just to save myself a little bit and to give myself a room. Now, the reason that I'm doing it this way for you is to show you that if you don't have a big picture, that's no problem. Because what you can do now is once we lay our border on here, now we have what I always like to refer to as a wide open landscape. So what does a wide open landscape means? That means we can put our pictures however we want on here now. So I can do some 3x5s across the top. And then maybe 5.5 by 3.5 on this side, right? So that's one option. Or maybe I want to do 6x4s. 4x3s on here. So now it's wide open. You can leave it however you want to. In my other example where I had a ginormous photo, I had the big photo and then I did a few littler photos over here just to draw some more interest into my page because I didn't want just one photo on the page. I wanted to have some others. But you can use the same exact technique and put as many photos on here as you want. Or if you didn't want to do a big, huge 12 by 12 or 8.5 by 11 size photo, maybe you want to do a 5 by 7 photo on the left-hand page and then do a whole bunch of other pictures on the right-hand page. So what I love about a layout like this is it gives you a wide open landscape so that you can do whatever kind of pictures that you have that you want to commemorate whatever event it is that you're trying to scrapbook. Does that make sense for everybody? Heather, am I going
Yes,
good?
ma'am. Yep, you're
Okay.
doing great.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these on here real quick. And I put them almost all the way to the bottom, you guys. I leave about not even what's half of a quarter. That's what I'm leaving. So now the trick is when you do this second one and you line it up, you're going to have it overhang on the right hand side. And this is where you need your scissors because what you're going to do is you're just going to cut it straight down this side and take this piece and add it over here on this side. And that's how you get your full border.
Ah.
Got it? And that lines up perfectly. And then when you put this on top, you're not even going to be able to see it. And I do build as I go. You could probably kind of do it all at once, but I just find it's easier when you layer it to do one layer at a time. All right, before I put this one on, I want to make sure I get my background picture or my background. Oh, screwed that up. Took off some paper on the back of that.
That's what embellishments are for.
Yep. It's right in the middle though. So I did it a little short. All right. There's page 1. Go ahead and do this page.
That is so fun, Jenny. I feel like you can do that with a lot of different punches.
Right? I hope that some of you will try it and post because that's always the fun part is to see how you are inspired and what kind of photos that you use and what kind of what kind of border you'll use. I was looking at my punches trying to decide today. And then Heather, you talked me into Secret Box, but I thought of mountains, but I was trying to think of what other ones would be good.
What about the tree line? That might be kind of cool.
Tree line, that'd be another good outdoorsy one.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, you know what I would use? I would use Rainbow Ripple and do it in rainbow order.
Yeah,
You know, I'm a
that would be
rainbow girl.
fun.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's fun. You could go really crazy with Rainbow Ripple because isn't that the one where you can fill in the
The punch poop.
yeah, with different colored circles and whatnot?
Yeah.
You could really get creative with that one. I don't have time for that. I don't have time. All right. So I need my other piece. I know it took off a 1/2 inch. And I did 3 3/4 last time. I'm gonna do 3 1/2 this time. I just felt like I needed a little tiny bit more room. It's better. So that's the basic bottom. And now I did pull some. Look at what a mess I have over here. You guys don't even know. I'm gonna take a picture afterwards again so you guys can see what a messy scrapbooker I am. Look, I have all these journal cards. Let's see, what do we want to do here? I wanted to do 3 1/2, I think, across the top on this side. And I think I want to do a decorative block right here, right? Because I want to do something on the left and something on the right. That's how I always we're trying to get movement. We're trying to go across the page. So 2, 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. Then I can leave that as a decorative block on that side. And then maybe I'll flip it up on this way. Maybe do some verticals. What do you think? My gosh, seriously? Like that. What can I put on the bottom, or do I just center them? I don't know. This is where it's easier if I actually had pictures and I knew what I was going to put on here, but we'll leave it like this for right now. Depending on what my layout is, we have these itty bitty ones that I've never even used before, so I might put some of those. That could get you a whole bunch of photos on there.
What if you stair stepped them?
Stair step them.
Yeah, that looks better. I feel like it needs some, yeah. I felt like the borders on the bottom were kind of bigger than everything else, but that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Scoot the middle and up and the left one all the way down. Like they're stairs,
I'm going to go
stairs.
this way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you've got room there at the top above the first picture to put a little bit of embellishing.
Yeah. So for me, this would not work.
No.
Because it's too drastic of a difference. So I don't mind them stair stepped, but if I'm going to stair step them, I'm going to stair step them.
Okay. Yeah.
For me personally. But that's, I think, where my engineering brain comes in. I know we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
So I would do something like that, but that's fun. That's fun. Something like this, maybe. I don't know. This is where I would spend a lot of time just auditioning to figure out exactly what I like. For me,
think that's good
I
too, because,
probably
like-
wouldn't do anything with this until I found pictures next, because my pictures will really drive not only the layout of how my pictures are going to be landscaped, but it will also help drive the embellishments that I'm going to use on the page, right? So if I'm doing my niece at her dance show, then I would change this in a little bit to make it a little more dance, and I would use embellishments related to dance. If I'm going to, what's it called, witchy watchy with Heather, and we're looking
Witchy-watchy.
at mermaids, dude, I'm gonna like make it even more mermaid taily,
Yeah.
depending on what it is that we're seeing. But this is the technique of the borders. So it's really just offsetting them. Now I use this a lot on my pages, not only with the border punches, but you can do the same thing with the border maker cartridge. What it'll do if you use a border maker cartridge is it's going to make it a little bit smaller, just because our border maker cartridges are a little bit thinner than our border maker punches are. And then the other thing that you guys can do is you can turn these, right? It doesn't have to be on the bottom. You can move them to the sides, that gives it a completely different look, right? You can do it on the top. It would be interesting. Someone said they look like curtains. I can't remember who said that, but you could literally have adhered this on something else and then flipped it the other way. So it really would look like curtains, where it would look something more like this, right? Then you're looking at, you could do like a Broadway show or something. That would be fun. All right. So that's pretty much the layout.
Okay,
So
Jenny,
now
we have
let's
a
talk.
question.
Yep.
What size are the rectangles with the purple waves?
These ended up being, I took a 1/2 inch off, so 11.5 by, and I took off 3.5. So 11.5 by 7.5.
Yep. Thank you.
Is that the right measurement? I took off a
believe
1/2 inch and then I took off 3.5. So whatever the mathematics of that is.
Oh, wait.
I don't know that that's right. I think it's 8.5.
It's 8.5. Yeah,
I think it's 8.5. Yeah. All right. So I know somebody here was really interested in how I made the palm tree. So I wanted to just show you that really quick. And you need your jumbo template. And then this is the oval and it's the number 3 template. So if you look at your ovals, it's the 3rd largest one. So it's not the largest one, but it's the next largest one. And then again, I keep scraps, right? So I just use scraps to do all of this. My whole layout that I put together, you guys, was using scraps. I didn't use any full sheet of paper other than my background pages. What I love about the palm tree and what I think makes the palm tree fun is when you use multiple colors. So I would not use the same color. All right. This is called the Jenny Mancini Scrap and Chat with Jenny Mancini Wing It method of making a palm tree. Okay, you guys, this is honestly how I did this. I was like, I need an arc and I need it kind of to curve. So what I do is I just put my template on my scrap piece of paper and I am going to cut on the inside of this template with my red blade about halfway around. That's it. I'm literally, and I'm doing it the long way. I'm doing it this way, not the short squatty way, right? Because we want long, pretty leaves. All right, so I just literally cut it halfway. Okay. Then I took the outside edge and I literally just lined it up on one corner to the other corner, and I'm going to cut around the outer portion edge of this. Making sure that you get it in there. And that's what gives me this crazy looking eyebrow shape. Okay. See what I did? And then I take my scissors and I'm like, oh, it just needs a few little triangles in here. So it looks like a palm tree. And I literally just winged it. That's it. There's my first palm. And then again, I do things in odd numbers, right? So I'm going to do the same thing. And some of them are going to be a little thinner. Some of them are going to be a little thicker. It's a palm tree. Nature doesn't do things symmetrically. It doesn't matter if one's a little bit thinner than the other. That makes it organic. That makes it seem real. It's just paper and it's a scrap. If you mess it up, just do another one. It's fine. Right? Where are my girls that are wing it girls? Come on, are any of you wing it girls?
Yes.
All day long.
Okay. I was talking about Megan earlier, and my mom is the same. I laugh at them because they're getting better. Both of them are, I think I'm rubbing off on them. All right, so I did 3 of those colors, and then I would pull in a different color. I'm going to pull in some greens. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm literally just going halfway around on the inside. Hardest part is lining the blade in there. Then I move it down, and now I'm doing it on the outside, so I get that angle, that curve. I guess it's not really an angle, it's a curve. Cut in some triangles. That one's a little squattier, that's fine. I tried the other sizes too, and I just found like this one was the best size. But if you wanted a really teensy tiny one, you could go smaller. The bigger size, I don't know, it just felt a little too squatty. But you know, as soon as I say that it doesn't look good, someone's going to make it look amazing. So, all right, so there's my tree, my leaves. Now, we can make these look even more organic if you want to you can use your ink around the edges, put some ink on here to give it a little bit more dimension around the edges. You could take a pen and draw just like a really thin line kind of down the center. That would give it more dimension if you wanted to do that as well. And again, we're going to use my really scientific approach to making a trunk. You guys, I did the exact same thing for the trunk. But when I did this, if you guys have the jumbo circle and you have not marked on it with your marker to mark all these spots using that video that Megan Jacks did, I would highly, highly recommend that you do that. And I will try and find that video and link it on my main page. But it really helps you line things up when you're cutting and using this jumbo circle. So I would highly recommend it. So if you're looking at this circle, I'm going to draw my arc about, I go about 5 of these circles, 5 of these notches. So I'm going from my red notch up to my second green notch. So I don't know what that dimension is, but if you're looking at this like a clock, I'm going from about 8 to 10 on my circle. And I did the exact same thing. I started on the outside this time. So I get my outside curve, and now I want my inside curve, but I want my trunk. If you look at the trunk, so if you look at this trunk right here, so I did my outside curve, which is right here, and I'm going to put a couple notches in it. But if you look, it's thicker down here than it is up at the top, right? We want it to go thin at the top. That's kind of what palm trees look like. So when I line up my paper with my curve, that's what I want to do. Trying to show you the best way I can show you. That's what you want to do with your circle. See how the bottom of it is thicker than the top is? So when you put it on your cutting mat and you're putting the circle on here, I'm going to cut on the outside again because I want the same angle this time, but I want it to go thinner at the top than it is at the bottom. Does that make sense, Heather?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody getting it?
Yep.
You're good, girl. There's no questions and no slowdowns. So
I'm just going all the way up to the top, and then when I get to the top, I just cut it. That's it. That gave me my shape. Right? That's the same as the shape. So now what I did was I just went in and just like the leaves, I'm just gonna add a few notches. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just, putting them where I am offsetting them a little bit. I don't want them lined up perfectly one after the other. This tree has a lot of and then I tucked that a little bit underneath. Now, what looks different about this tree other than the colors is if you look at my tree here, you'll see that I did use the ink around the edges. That helps to lift it off of my page. It helps it to give it life. I inked in here. You could also go and put a few little lines in these crevices too, if you wanted, with a brown pen. I also inked. I did navy on these pictures, on these palm leaves. I'd probably do green on these ones. I also did 6 here. I did 3 of each color, so you might want to add another color there. But I did ink around them, and I just think the inking really makes a big, huge difference when you're talking about the page. And then, of course, I tilted it on my page. But that's it. I can't remember. Was it Katie that wanted to know about the palm tree? I can't remember.
No, it was me, Karen.
Karen. All right. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it did. It's very cute. I like it.
Okay. That's just my way of how I made it. I'm sure that there's other ways. I didn't see one, but there's probably one out there. All right. Do you want to see how you do your quick little lesson in Canva today? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to bring my computer. I'm going to try and switch these things around here. Okay. So this is what Canva looks like when you first come into Canva. And there are a couple ways that you can do this. I'm going to show you the way that I do it, which I find it to be the easiest for me. I'm not telling you this is the only way to do it. There are probably other ways to do it. But the first thing that I do when I come in and I know that I'm working with my photos, I know that I'm going to want to add text to my photos or a title to my photos, is I'm going to come in here and hit create. Now, when you hit create, it brings up this screen, which gives you all kinds of options, right? So a lot of times if you guys go out to somebody's videos on YouTube, you'll see that they have their cute little thumbnails. They've a lot of times made them in Canvas, or you can do reels, videos, all kinds of things. But I just want to do a picture. So because I want to do a picture, I'm going to choose down here on the left-hand corner at the bottom where it says custom size, and I'm going to bring up a custom size. The first thing that I know I want to do is right now it's on pixels. I don't want pixels. I want to change it to inches, right? Because our photos are 6 by 4 inches, 12 by 12 inches, 8 by 10 inches. So I'm going to change it to inches, and then I'm going to put in the dimensions of the photo that I'm wanting to edit. So in this last case, what I did was I did a 12 by 12. So I hit 12 by 12 and then create new design. And it's going to bring up this beautiful white box ready for you for your pictures. Okay, so then over here on the left-hand corner, you'll see there's an upload. Now, if you've already uploaded, you would see your pictures in here, but I'm going to choose uploads. Now you can see down here, all the different pictures that I've uploaded to do different things with. So I could literally choose, I could choose my little Toby, and I could stretch Toby out here and make him a little 12 by 12 photo of Toby if I want to, just by selecting what I've already uploaded. So I can do it that way, right? If I don't have my photo, up here at the top, it says upload files. You click on that, you go to where your files are. I've already got mine here. Click on the one you want. It'll upload it for you here. and then you click it and it brings it right into your box. And then you're just going to stretch it. And see, this is what I was talking to you guys before. See how when I stretch it, how it's changing my photo? Like it didn't show my whole entire photo. So when I double click it, now you can see it's because when I took the photo, I took it in the iPhone measurements, which aren't even 4x6. I think it's like 3.75 by 5.3 or something when it actually takes the photo. So for me in that landscape photo, what I did was the first time I moved it over here and got the left side and I printed that. And then I came back and I moved it to the right side and I printed that. That gave me my whole photo, which I was able to use on the 2 pages. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Somewhat. So
Yeah.
you didn't have a 12 by 12 printer, so how? Explain it one more time.
Okay. If you are trying to print a 12 by 12 photo
Mhm.
from a photo that you've already taken on your iPhone, the measurements of which that photo was taken on your iPhone are going to be bigger when you blow it up than 12 by 12. So if I click on this photo, can you see here on the edges where it's kind of grayed out, but you can still see a portion of my photo?
Yes.
That's the part that is too big for the 12 by 12, right? Because it's blowing it up proportionally to your photo. So if it's a 4x6 photo and you're trying to blow it up to a 12 by 12, you're going to cut off a portion of your photo because mathematically it just expands it proportionally. I don't really know how else to explain that. So when you do a 12 by 12 photo, you have to crop it to what it is that you want to see most in your photo. Like, do you want the center? Do you want the left? That would be on any kind of software that you're using. Even if you're using Walmart's software and you're uploading your photo and you're wanting to print it 12 by 12, it's going to cut off some of it because it has to, because of the proportions of the photo. In my case, because I knew that I was going to span 2 pages, I knew that if I slid my entire photo to the left, like I've done here, and printed that, and then came back and slid it all the way to the right and printed that, I could put those 2 photos together, overlap them where they're the same, and get that full view of my photo.
That makes sense. I was just trying to figure out because didn't you say you did it 8.5 by 11? Or we not
I
gotten
did.
that far yet?
We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
I'm jumping ahead. Sorry, Jenny.
That's okay. I just want to make sure that, I mean, it's a little confusing. I just want to make sure it makes sense. So when you blow this up, you're going to have to position it to what you want to show. That's because I'm using a 12 by 12. Okay. If I had chosen to use a 6 by 4, it would have just uploaded it perfectly. And we'll do that next. But I should have started with that. Sorry. But we're here with the 12 by 12. I've got it on here centered how I want. The next thing I want to do is I want to add a title. So what I do is I add a text box. It brings it over here onto my square that's got my picture on here, and then I can type whatever I want. And it's hard to see, so let's change it to a different text color. Let's change it to white. So I'm just typing what I want, and then I'm going to bring it up here onto my document. And that is not a fun font. Let's choose a fun font. And I can make it as big as I want. Make it multiple lines if I want. And this is where you're just putting it how you want it, where you want it. So if you see, if I click on that text box up here on the very top here, hopefully you guys can see where I'm pointing to. you can see the different fonts by clicking on that. They're on the left-hand side. It's More Sugar is the different fonts. Bloom shirts, skirts. So you can just go through here and choose whatever kind of font you want. I like Hala. Here's where your font size is, so you can increase it as big as you want. I find it easier to drag it to however big I want. Text color, so you can choose, whatever color you want. Now, here's what I've learned from doing this. When you're choosing your photos to add text to add a title to add journaling to, you want to look for pictures that have wide open spaces of nothingness. So like in this example, I have all this sky with nothing in it. It was calling for a title, right? If you have my other example that I showed you, I had all of that sand. I could have cut the sand off if I wanted, but it was a perfect place where I could put a journaling block for it. So make sure when you're looking that you're looking at photos that have a natural place for you to be able to fill it with some kind of a title, some kind of a picture, some type of a, whatever you want, words, whatever. So in this case, you can click on other things like elements and say, I want a sun. And then it brings up all these suns, and I can just choose whichever one I want. Add it on here. I mean, this is definitely not what I would normally pick, but I'm just showing you so you guys get the example, okay? So now we have the example. This is what it looks like. This is what I want. It's perfect. I have it all lined up exactly how I want it. So now how do I print it? Well, there's lots of ways you can print this. You can print it directly from within Canva, but I don't have time for that. So I'm going to download this as my own picture, just like this, and then I can print it however I want to print it. So to do that, on the right-hand side here, you'll see that there's a share button. Does everybody see that? And you click on the share button and you're going to download it. Down here on the bottom left, you'll see where it says download. So I click download. Now, when I click download, it brings up this box. Right now, it is set to PNG. PNG is the same, it's like a JPEG. It just has a little bit better presentation quality than a JPEG does. But if you click on here, you can see this is best for complex images. You can do a JPEG, you can change it to JPEG, best for sharing. This is where you're going to choose the type. If you want it to be a PDF, you could change it to that. I usually just keep it as a PNG, and then I'm going to download it. So now what it's doing is it's downloaded it to my computer. So if I go into where I have all my files to my downloads, right here it is. And I can click on that and it'll bring it up, and it's just a regular picture for me. So now I can print this however I want to print it now. It's just a picture, right? So for me, when I did my printing of this, Heather, I printed it on my printer at home in an 8.5 by 11 size.
So if you didn't print it at home and you took it to, say, Walgreens, does this picture know that it's a 12 by 12, or could I take this picture now and print it as a 4 by 6?
You can print this as a 4 by 4, 4 by 6, whatever you want. So if I went to print this, and I chose, so right now, see what it did to it? Right now it's set as an 8.5, 11 letter. So when I printed it, I changed it to landscape.
Okay.
So if you wanted this to be 4 by 6, you have to be careful. Like, this is where it's important to get the size right before you download it, because you want your
Right.
words to be in the right place. See how
So,
when I change
yeah.
it to 4 by 6, it's too tall.
So pick your size before you say you download it.
I think that's the easiest way to do it for sure.
Okay.
So like a lot of times what I'll do, so let's go back into Canva. And let me go back. I'm going to create. I'm going to choose my custom size again. It always defaults to this pixels. You got to change it to inches. Now I want to do a 6x4. Create new design. Now you'll see when it comes in, it's going to look like a regular photo.
Mm-hmm.
So now if I choose that same photo, oops, I did it twice. Now watch when I stretch it.
You're getting the whole thing, yeah.
I'm pretty much, like I said, we're not, when you use an iPhone, it's not a true 4x6, but
Right,
you're pretty much
right.
getting the whole thing.
Jenny,
So
I'm assuming this is not the free version, and can you get this for the free version, or do you have to
this
download?
works on the free version.
It does, okay.
Yes, it works the exact same way on the free version. What you won't have is when you choose your elements and things, you may not have access to all the same elements that I have, because some of them, like here's the ones that have the crowns on them.
Right,
They're like,
arcade, yeah.
correct. You have to have a different plan
Yeah.
to play, but you
I
can
got
do
the,
this regardless of which version you have.
Yeah. I know at our last web seminar in Indy, I got the paid and then I wasn't using it very much, so I deleted it, so I'll go back to it now that I can do this.
But you can still do this in the free version too. I mean, you can try
Yeah.
it with the free version as well.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So it's the same thing. So now I've stretched it to my 4x6. I'm going to add a text box. Text box comes in the middle. What do we want to call this? Cabo craziness. I don't know. I can't think of the title. I'm going to pull it up to where it is blank sky, right? Because
Mhm.
you want to be able to read it in the blank sky. I'm going to change the font because who likes that ugly font? I'm going to change it to a color I can see. I'm going to make it bigger. Don't like that font either. But you guys get the idea. You can change it to whatever you want.
This sure beats using little scraps of paper with typed headers.
It's definitely a different kind of it's a different kind
Yeah.
of look.
Yeah.
I used to have those clear stickers, sometimes we had those clear sticker titles that you used to put on top of photos. I have a
Mhm.
lot of those in my photo albums, and they're okay, but you could still kind of see the edges of the edges of them. So what I love about this is it's actually on your photo. It prints it on your photo.
Mhm.
For me, I probably wouldn't do something like this because I probably wouldn't put a title on a little 4x6. And this is a very busy photo. So for me personally, I would choose something more. I'm just going to go ahead and create. I'm going to do another 6x4, change it. Always change it to inches. If you don't, when you get it, you'll be like, what happened? You forgot to change it to inches. I would most likely choose something more like this. And I would say, stay, wait. you know? I would do something more like this for my smaller photos. You guys get the idea. You know? And
Very
then you would just, you'd print this. So then you could you can also, if this was too bright a white, like you could change the transparency even a little bit. So that, see how it's not making it
Mhm.
so it's quite so obnoxious, you know? So
Mhm.
now it looks a little bit more natural blended in than what I had before. So you can play with any of the features up here as far as the effects, those kind of things. But just know that once you share it, that's how it is. That's how it's going to look. So when I choose share and I choose download and it's a PNG, I'm going to download this. Now, when I open that file, that's what my picture is. And if I print that picture, that's what it's going to look like. Does anybody have any questions?
I didn't know about the transparency. That's a really cool tip.
Well,
I like
right,
that.
Jenny?
because sometimes you just don't want it to be as bright. You
Right.
want it to blend in a little bit more with your background. I don't know who was calling me, but
That was Deborah. I have a question,
yes, ma'am.
Deborah, as always.
That's okay.
One day in the future, could you maybe put it on your maybe possible do list to have a Canva workshop for like an hour?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, months and months from now, and you have absolutely nothing to do.
No, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I use Canva a lot. I'm not like, I'm sure there's probably many consultants on who are much better experts at Canva than I am, but I have definitely used it for doing some little fun things on my pages. And I love
This is
having the
great.
ability to be able to do that for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions before I stop this share? Okay, thank you everybody for joining me, and I look forward to next month. Bye.